All right, I'll go ahead and start now. So yeah, thank you everyone for joining us today for the Sign Up Forms webinar. I am Jensine. I am the Support and Implementation Manager. I'm sure I've talked to everyone that has joined us today at one point in time, but if not, hello. You can reach me at jensine@greenrope.com. But if you have any support questions, feel free to reach out to support@greenrope.com. And then here's our phone number and some of our socials as well. So as I mentioned, we are doing a slightly different setup today with the Google Meets instead of Zoom. So just so everyone is aware, we don't have a way to do chatting in the call, but we still do have a way to submit Q&A questions. So as you will see at the bottom of your screen, there is this little icon. So if you click on that, it's the activities icon. Click on that and then go to the Q&A option. You can click the Ask a Question button and submit a question for me. So it's slightly different than previously with Zoom, but it is should still work for asking questions. So go ahead and move on. So just so everyone knows, the agenda today, we are going to go over what are sign-up forms, the different types of sign-up forms that you can use, and then best practices for those, the types of data that you can capture, how to use logic within a sign-up form and the benefits, as well as using automation within a sign-up form and the benefits. And then finally, we're going to go over continual management. So what are sign-up forms? So sign-up forms are essentially a form that you create within your account to collect data. And then you can put that form on really any website, any landing page. You can even just send out the direct link to the form if you want. So sign-up forms, like I kind of mentioned here, they're great ways to collect data from your clients. It can be a variety of different kinds of data. So you can use it for, leads, new leads that are coming into your website. You might want to collect certain types of information like email, name, company, phone number, really basic stuff. But you might also want to use a sign-up form for something more complex, like taking in important onboarding documents, or maybe you have a questionnaire that you want people to fill out. So sign-up forms can really be used for something, casual or something more professional. It really is up to you. Sign-up forms are also a great way to build out and get opt-in, or build out your opt-in process and get those confirmations for your contacts. I have a little star here because this is a really important point, and I'll go over it in the next slide. But just kind of keep in mind that sign-up forms are highly recommended for creating that opt-in process. Sign-up forms are also very easy to learn. We have kind of what I mentioned, we have different types of sign-up forms. So you can either, build out a really simple bare bones sign-up forms, or you can build out a more complex, highly customized form that is, very specific to you and your business's needs. So as mentioned, the opt-in policy. Opt-in policies are very, very important, and they're only becoming more important. I'm sure some of you are aware of Twilio's A2P. They do require opt-in. They do require an opt-in policy for SMS campaigns. So whenever we say opt-in policy, we're really kind of referring to any way that you're going to communicate with a client. You should have some kind of record to show that they opted into this communication. With sign-up forms, like I said, it's very, very easy to set that up. With just the regular sign-up form, we have our double opt-in, which is where the person will submit their form and they have to then confirm within a separate email that they meant to submit the form. That's the highest level of opt-in, and definitely recommended to make sure that you're getting in good contacts. And then another way that you can do the opt-in within a sign-up form is for SMS opt-in. You can have a simple checkbox that says, check here if you agree to be opted into SMS communication. So it's really just important to kind of figure that out within your own business and your practice and to build that out. As I mentioned, sign up forms are great for getting that built out. So making sure that you have good leads is vital for good email deliverability. So if you find that your emails are going to spam or they're just being blocked completely, usually it's a good time to look at your contact list and look at who you're sending these to and to figure out if these are good contacts, like if they were legitimate opted-in contacts, or if maybe you have like a single opt-in sign-up form that people can just fill out mass amounts of times and have really nothing happen from that. Another thing with having a solid opt-in process that then inputs good leads is for good SMS deliverability and also just general domain reputation. If you get a lot of spam complaints, get a lot of issues with your domain, you can get blacklisted from different servers, which is obviously not ideal for, doing business online. So just keep in mind, opt-in policies are very important, and you should definitely, if you have not thought about that, think about how you want to implement that within your system. So the different types of sign-up forms. So we have two different types of sign-up forms. There's the EasyBuilder drag and drop, which I'm sure a lot of people are familiar with. If you're familiar with our EasyBuilder or the landing page EasyBuilder, then you're going to be familiar with this. It's very, very simple and a matter of just dragging fields over into the form and then adjusting the settings to your likings. An example of this is going to be in my free book download sign up form. So I have an EasyBuilder form, which you can tell because this toggle is on. And then I have my EasyBuilder option here. So with this form, it really was just a matter of grabbing the field, dragging it over. And these are already on the field or on the form, so they aren't going to show up. But it's really a matter of just dragging and dropping. And if you don't want it, you can just put it off to the side. And so it's the same idea where you can then drag and drop the mandatory field. So let's say that you wanted phone number to be mandatory. You would drag it and drop. Whoops, sorry, not like that. You actually have to drag it and drop from here. So that is my bad. So you would drag and drop the field and just go down there. Same idea with the groups. If you want to add them to a specific group, drag and drop. So the EasyBuilder form builder is very simple. It's very easy to use. Minimal customization is needed. And anything that you do want to customize is within this design tab and with these options here. So it's very simple, very user-friendly. You don't really have to think too hard about it. Just drag and drop and adjust some sliders and you're all done. The next type of sign-up form builder is the template-based builder. We don't have an actual name for this, so that is the name that I came up with. But the template-based builder is going to be for those who want a bit more flexibility or a bit more customization on their form. An example I will give is this monthly check-in. So as you can see, it looks a little bit different than the EasyBuilder. So if I toggle this on, that turns on the EasyBuilder, and then I toggle it off and it turns it off. From here, you would choose your template that you want. We have a lot of different templates, but you can also choose to make your own. I have an example of that in my account, which I will show later. And then from there, the template is what builds it. And from there, you go to the information tab to put in the fields that you want. So in this example, I have these fields down here that are required. And then you do the same thing with groups. You choose which group you want them to join, if you want there to be any optional joining, etc. So those are the two types of builders. I believe I go in a bit more detail here. So as kind of talked about, EasyBuilder is great for really simple forms. If you just have, basic account info that you need, or if it's just like a quick contact us form, definitely suggest using the EasyBuilder. The template-based builder is great for more complex forms. The thing to think about here is if you want to use logic. So if you only want certain fields to show depending on how they previously answered, you would use the template-based builder, not the EasyBuilder. And another thing is if you wanted to use custom objects within a form, you would need to use the template-based builder, as the EasyBuilder does not have that functionality. So for both types of forms, you can utilize automation, autoresponders, different kinds of after, like if you want them to start a journey, if you want to alert anyone within the team that a sign up form was done. So those are just come standard with forms. So if that's something that you're worried about, don't worry, those come with everything. It's more about the types of fields that you want to use, the type of data that you want to use, is how you will decide which form to make it with. Okay, so on the topic of data, so the types of data that you can capture, kind of talked about user-defined fields. So user-defined fields are just any custom fields that you make. Any question, any data that you want to collect within a sign-up form is going to either be a user-defined field or a custom object. So if you're not sure where to start off at all, you just know that you want to make a sign-up form and that's it. List out the questions that you want to ask. Determine if those were standard fields. An easy way to do that is just to go into a contact record and see if that field exists. If it doesn't exist, then create a custom user field for it. As soon as you create a custom user field, it will display in either the information tab here, if it's just a regular EasyBuilder or a regular sign up form builder, apologies. Or if it's an EasyBuilder form, it will show up under the Fields tab. The other option is custom objects. So custom objects are essentially, it's data that you can kind of collect together within its own object. These are stored separately than user-defined fields, and they have different kinds of fields that you can use. So it is different functionality. Custom objects are great if you want to collect repetitive information or if you want to collect files. I go a bit more into that into the next slide, but just to kind of give you an idea. Something else you can collect payment within a sign-up form. If you have a payment service set up, so that's Stripe, Authorize, or I'm blanking on the other one, but out of the PayPal, that's the other one. So if you have any of those payments integrated directly within your account, you can set up a sign-up form to collect payment after they submit it. And then another type of data that we capture, which is really in the back end, but I wanted to mention it because it is pretty powerful, is the tracking data. So for best practices, user-defined fields are great for collecting one-time data sets. So something like home address or favorite feature, people aren't going to be switching their home addresses a lot, and they probably won't need to store multiple home addresses. And same thing with favorite feature. Like if someone's favorite feature change, they probably don't care about you keeping the data previously of what their favorite feature was. So those would just be one-time collection or one-time uses. Custom objects are, on the other hand, are really good for collecting repetitive data sets and file uploads. So whenever I say repetitive data sets, what I mean is something like testimonial submissions. So let's say you have a product. Let's say you have a variety of products. And let's say one person loves to give testimonials, right? They love testing everything out and they like talking about it. You don't want the testimonials to be replaced. You want to keep every testimonial that person submits and you want it to be easily accessible within the contact record so you can look at them all at the same time, or, you know, together. So a testimonial submission would be something you would want to collect in a custom object, because every submission you do is going to be stored and saved as its own separate object, and it won't overwrite the other one. Another one would be like onboarding documents. Maybe there's, you know, different, maybe, you know, you get one set of documents your first month, and then your third month you get another set of documents. You don't want those documents to be overwritten. You just want a new record of it. So that is what custom objects are good for. And file uploads, you can't do file uploads with user-defined fields. You can add files to contact records, but you can't, there's not like a user field for, or user field type for files. So because of that, if you want to collect files, which includes like documents, images, PDFs, etc., use custom objects, and you can do that. Actually, let me go back and quickly go through. So I showed you where the fields are in the EasyBuilder. I want to just quickly show you what the custom objects look like. So I have my project creation sign up form, and this sign up form uses all custom objects. So as you can see here, this is just a regular user field. It has all groups, and then it has the name. But with a custom object, they look a little different. They have the name of the object and then the name of the attribute. And then if you hover over it, it will say it's a custom object. So for this, just know that whenever you create a custom object, they will look slightly different, and they usually show up at the bottom, towards the bottom. But this is how they look within a regular sign-up form. Okay. All right, so another thing that sign-up forms can do and is really powerful is using logic. So I kind of briefly touched on what logic is. It's really great for personalizing the experience for a client. I'm sure you've used forms before that have logic added to it, which make it very easy to kind of keep track of where you are or keep track of what is needed. You know, so if you say that, you know, no, I'm not interested in learning more about this product, instead of having to scroll past all the questions about that one product, if you use logic, you can just skip past it and say, okay, no, they're not interested, then don't show them those questions. Just move on to the next one. And another thing is you can, so I guess there are two types of logic that you can use. So you can use logic for the groups that you're getting added to, and then you can use logic for the user field visibility. To use logic within groups, they have fairly the same functionality, user field and group logic. But for groups, there is just a slightly different option. So for groups, you, of course, can filter based on either something that's already in their contact record or something that they answered within the sign-up form. And based on those answers, or based on, you know, whatever's already in their record, you can choose to add them to a specific group. So if I chose to only add contacts whose emails contain greenrope.com, that means, you know, anyone that has that email, has that domain in it, will be added to this group, and anyone else will not. You also want to set up an otherwise case so there aren't just floating contacts in your account. So again, it can be done just by user fields, pretty standard. But the other way that you can add contacts to groups from within the sign-up form builder is by weekday. So if they fill it out on a weekday, one of these, you can choose to put them in a specific group. And another option, which I really like, is the random. So this will just do an even split with whatever groups you put here. So, you know, if one person fills it out, one day it's going to go to this one, the next person it will go to support tickets, the next person it will go to EasyBuilder testing, etc. So that's one way that you can set up logic with the groups. With user fields, it's pretty much the same idea, but you don't have that option to choose by weekday or random. For user fields, it's going to be pretty standard. You can only look at custom user fields. For logic, you cannot look at custom objects. Also, I just realized that my dropdowns are not showing, so I apologize about that. I'll just explain it. But for here, you can show if, and then if you click here, it will just give you a list of the different user fields that you have an option. So I'll just say, show if first name is Jensine. This won't work, obviously, because I don't have that first name field added here. So that would obviously not work. Don't do that. I'll break it. But I guess if I can do email contains Jensine, it will show up. But yeah, so the user field visibility, I'll go ahead and test that out and show you what it looks like. Let's see. Oh, that's not a good one. Apologies. Let me go up to the one that I built for this. Okay, so I built out this form to be all based on logic. So if the previous field is filled out, then it will show the next field. So here I have display name, I have first name, I have last name. This one, you have to exit out of it. But yeah, so as you can see, it just kind of chooses, depending on the previous answer, it will show you, whatever fields you're trying to get at. All right. Let's go to the next one. So yeah, this kind of goes over what I went over. So yeah, group logic allows for 2 additional kinds of filters. You can do it by weekday or by random. And then user field logic allows you to choose which options to show or hide based on the criteria. I said based on previous answer, but that's not entirely true. You can base it on any field within the form. And then, like I said, custom objects cannot be used for logic, but you can use logic on custom objects. All right, so automation. So using automation in signup forms, I would say signup forms are probably one of the easiest places to kick off automation. There's a lot of different options. It's built in, and then there's also the ability to add on external automations. And when I say external automations, I just mean, workflows and journeys. But like I said, within the actual signup form builder, there's a lot of places that you can add automation without having to, reference a workflow, which is really nice. And then you can also utilize the different automations just because within our system, we have a way of starting automation based on group addition. So if you add someone to a group, you can kick off a series of automations that can either be done through a drip campaign or a workflow. And then with the user field, you can actually choose to activate a workflow based on an update to a user field. So with this knowledge, the signup form has so many different levels of places that you could start automation. If this is a new lead form and maybe you're trying to find out what they're interested in and you have a list of 5 things, you could have 5 groups that all have 5 drip campaigns attached to them, and all 5, or then they each have 5 journeys. So what you could do is have the user field, add them to the group based on logic, and once they get added to the group, they will have the drip campaigns go off, they will have any journeys go off, they will have any workflows happen. So it's definitely, I would say, probably one of the strongest places to start an automated process. So as I mentioned, utilize the sign up form fields. If you notice that a field For example, yeah, if you're using a field, trying to think of the best way to describe this. If you use a field, let's see the free book download. Let's do here. So for the monthly check-in report, you know that you're using these specific fields. So if you know you're using those specific fields, then think about how you can use automation within those fields. You know, and if you don't even, if you don't have a field, or if you just need to create one, you can, let's just, you know, you can just go ahead and add it. Actually, never mind. Sorry, scratch what I just said. Ignore that. But yeah, so what I would recommend is whenever you're creating the automation within your system or with a sign up form, just think about, you know, what user fields you're using. If you can attach those, if you can attach any automation to those fields, and if so, you know, what that would be, because then you can have multiple jumping points off for that automation. Another one, so this goes into the built-in automation within the sign-up forms. Set up autoresponders for straightforward campaigns and journeys for more complex campaigns. So as mentioned, the sign-up form builder has a series of automations built in. One of the ones that it does is this autoresponder. And this is available with both EasyBuilder and regular sign-up form builder. But the autoresponder is just a simple campaign. It's just a straightforward, they filled out a form, so now send them emails on a delayed timer. So with this one, it's, let me see, I have one set up. So I'm just gonna go to my project creation. And I'll show you what that looks like. So here I have this autoresponder campaign set up. It's gonna start the day after they submit. And this is just an info series. So they're going to submit a project, and then over the next 5 days, I will send them some additional info so that they can, you know, make sure that they're utilizing the project functionality as much as possible. So that's a really good built-in system for autoresponders, but you can also choose to activate a workflow or start a journey if you want something more complex. I would recommend, again, using journeys. If you want to do an email campaign, but you want to add logic to it, I would recommend doing journeys. So if you want to send out these 5 emails, but you only want to send them out if the contact answers a certain way or engages with the email a certain way, I would recommend setting up a journey. But if you just want kind of a basic boom, 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 here's some content, set up autoresponders. This will save you a lot of time because it's all in one place and it's just a simple drop down option. Some other really cool areas that you can use for automation. So here you can automatically assign a lead score. You can automatically alert users, and you can automatically research contacts. Most of the time, assigning a lead score or alerting users is something that you have to do through a workflow. Same thing with starting a journey. Most other places in the system, you have to activate a workflow to do all these actions and then start a journey. The sign-up form is really nice because it's all just in one area. So you can choose to activate a workflow, and you can also choose to start a journey, and then you can choose to assign a lead score right away. And then we also have the option down here to automatically research contacts. So the reason I like sign-up forms so much is because it essentially allows you to skip the workflow process if you want to. So you don't really need a whole other workflow for this sign-up form. You just have to fill out this information here, and then it will be good to go. You get to skip a step. Let me see if I have a good example of that. I think I do here. So here's kind of an example of how I have this set up. So I have an immediate follow-up email. This is the email that will go out as soon as they opt in, as soon as they confirm that they've opted in. Here, I'm going to activate a workflow. And it has it so it's you can set which user things get assigned to if they aren't assigned by default. I usually just keep it at myself. I can also choose to start a journey and allow the journey to restart, which means that even if the contact is on the journey, it can allow them to start from the beginning. And then I'm also going to send them a coupon specifically for my ebook. And I'm not going to assign a lead score, but yeah. So that's kind of gives you the idea of how you could set this up to really be an automation powerhouse. Okay, so for continual management, highly recommend that you set up security. There's a couple different ways that you can set up security, but I would strongly recommend putting these in place so that you don't run into issues later on down the line with, bad leads getting into your system, as we talked about before. We don't want, bots to try to, fill out the form over and over again, which is just annoying for you guys to clean up. So we highly recommend setting up certain security settings so that this doesn't happen. And I'll kind of walk through those. So the first one is security versus ease. So this is on the options tab. It's this option right here. I'll go ahead and open up the help bubble just so that you guys can read through it, because I don't think the dropdown will show. But essentially, security versus ease is the CAPTCHA. So you can choose, or sorry, it's double opt-in versus single opt-in, and then it's no CAPTCHA versus CAPTCHA. CAPTCHA is, let me go ahead and put it there. CAPTCHA is going to be those characters that you have to fill in to prove that you're not a bot. Go ahead and show you what that looks like. So it's going to be this area right here. You just have to, type in those letters, and then you can click the submit button. So this is the first layer of protection that you can add to your account. This is a way to prevent bots from filling this out and just, submitting the form over and over again. The second one, I guess the second step of security, or the second setting, is single versus double opt-in. Double opt-in is strongly recommended, especially, I would say, if you have a public sign-up form, use double opt-in. If you have a private sign-up form, it might not be as important, but it might still be a safe choice. But 100%, if you have a public-facing sign-up form, like on your website that anyone can go to, make sure it's double opt-in and also add CAPTCHA. So that's going to be this. That's going to be the security maximum security CAPTCHA form. The reason being is the double opt-in functionality forces the user, or whoever submitted the form, it forces them to confirm that they actually made the request by going to their email address that they entered into the form, by going into that inbox and then confirming that they made the request. So sometimes people will fill out a form like this. They'll just be like, that's not a real email. Let me zoom in a bit, but that's not a real email, right? I mean, it might be, but more than likely, that's just a nonsense email. If you have single opt-in, they can submit this. No worries. It might give them an error and say that the email is invalid, but if it's close enough to a real email and it hasn't been blacklisted or anything like that, they can submit it, and they can continue to submit stuff like that. So forcing them to do a double opt-in will prevent this from happening. So CAPTCHA and double opt-in are very important. Another thing that you can do for security. Okay, so the other thing to think about with security, and this, I guess it kind of goes the other way, but if you do find, like, if you find that you're submitting forms and you happen to get blocked, let's say, yeah, you're submitting multiple forms for a client of yours, and then you try to submit, and it says that we've blocked from this IP, or it says that the sign up form is under attack. That's the whitelisted IPs. So in reverse, if you do find that you're trying to submit a form and it's not letting you because it thinks you're a nefarious party, you can grab your IP and just put it in here, and it will allow you to bypass the submission rate. The next part for continual management is to set up a thank you page and /or emails for what to expect next. This is very important if you have double opt-in my experience. So for what I mean by that is, let's say that you have, double opt-in and you go to submit your sign up form, but the person doesn't know. There's no messaging. It just says, thank you for submitting the sign up form, and that's it. They'll think that they've done everything, all the steps that they needed to do. But in reality, there's an email waiting in their inbox that needs them to confirm the form. So what I recommend is, this will allow you to kind of set it and leave it. Create a thank you URL. Here you can either create your own landing page and connect that URL here, or if you'd rather just keep the generic white page with black text, you can write the steps here. So here I have thank you, check your email as kind of a next step, but you can really put more information, as much information as you want. So let me go ahead and just show you what that looks like. Should be able to. Okay, so just thank you for submitting the form. Thank you, check your email. I guess you don't need that other thank you. But you just, as mentioned though, just fill out the information here, and you would put the steps so that they know what to expect. So, check your email, make sure to click the button in the email. If you have any issues, reach out to this person. So that has happened before, where, people come into support and they'll be confused as to why, they thought people were submitting their form, but all of a sudden they're seeing that no one is submitting it. It's usually because they have double opt-in in there and they didn't explain that it's double opt-in to their clients. So their clients don't know what the next steps are. Kind of the same idea with the email campaign, just keeping people well informed about what the situation is, what to expect from the sign up form. Here you can have a sign up or an email that immediately goes out. Or sorry, apologies. For the confirmation, yeah, so, filling out what to do for next steps, there's the confirmation email. So this is for double opt-in. Here is where they would fill out here's where they would confirm. And then you can choose to send another email if you just kind of want a reminder. So if they haven't confirmed within the next 8 hours, you can send another email saying, hey, we see that you haven't confirmed, just, wanting to make sure that you see it. And then finally, once they actually confirmed that that was their intent, you can send an email that says, thank you for finalizing your confirmation. Here's, the next steps and whatever. Or if that's the last step in the process, congrats, everything's done, you're finished. So yeah, I would say in terms of continual management, just make sure that you have clear communication about what is needed for the on the client side, as well as what they should be looking out for. So the next thing is for management. Thankfully, the sign up forms have very easy to use tracking and reporting functionality. So here I did a quick example, or actually, I guess I have two. So whenever someone fills out a sign up form, you will see this who button. If it is green, it means they are confirmed, they've opted in, they're in your system. If it is red, that means that it's a double opt-in form that they haven't confirmed yet. So I'll go ahead and go to the one that has been confirmed. So once you have a confirmed form, you'll see this page. You can see how many people filled it out, as well as the exact details of who filled it out. So as you can see here, I filled it out at this time. I don't work for Google. That was just for a test. But here you can also see what I filled out. So this sign up data will show you all of the information. So here I filled out all of my custom objects as test, test, test. And then I can see by going in my contact record, it shows up here. So you can also choose to add contacts to a group. So if you notice that you're like, wait, I want to add all of these people to, let's say what this is projects. Maybe I have a group called project submitted, and I want to add them all to my project submitted group. I would select that group from the drop down. I'm just going to use support tickets to demonstrate. Once you're in the current group, you click on the who, and then you can choose to add the contacts to the group. So it's just kind of a nice mass modification tool. And then the other option you have is to export the contacts that have filled out a form. So if you want to go back through and say, okay, who has actually filled out this sign up form, you can export in any of these options and then get that data. So those are just for regular confirmed contacts. If a contact is not confirmed, as mentioned, you will see this who with the red lettering. From here, you can see the options to confirm or remove, and there's also the sign up form. It's the same kind of data that you'll get. This option is you can either confirm the contact, so this would be as if they click that confirmation button, or you can choose to remove it. Only click confirm if you are talking to the client, reaching out to them, like you're in communication, whatnot. Like that's the only time you'll ever want to click confirm. Don't click confirm on just random people if you have not actually confirmed this with them directly. Because that is essentially adding in a contact who is not opted into your system, which is an issue. If you don't get that confirmation, or maybe they said they filled it out by accident, or maybe this is just a really old list of unconfirmed contacts that you're going through, you can just click remove and it will remove all those records from the account. They won't be added to your system. They don't get added as a contact. If they were already in the system to begin with, they obviously will still be there. We won't delete them. But if they're completely new and you click remove, they will not be there. So yeah, this is just another, just to demonstrate that, again, it's very easy to kind of run reporting and to view the data on who is filling these out. And that will help with kind of continually managing your sign-up forms. And then finally, it's very, very seamless for embedding these forms on external pages. So what I mean by that is once you create the form, you more than likely will not just be linking to it. Sometimes you can do that if you want. You can just grab this link, copy it, paste it in an email and tell people to fill it out. But most of the time when people are creating forms, and I guess creating forms in the system, they want to be able to embed it on their page, or they want to be able to add it on, a website externally. So we have a lot of different options. So in order to get there, you'll go to your sign up form, click the HTML button, and then once you click the HTML, you'll be taken to these options. So you have a way to link it. That's just as simple as creating a link right here that you can click on and go to. You would just copy this code right here and put it in whatever source code you're using. So if that's an email or a landing page or whatever, you can just put it there. The form is going to be the actual form HTML. I would not recommend using this unless you are familiar with HTML. Yeah, I just don't recommend it unless you're comfortable with it. But if you are, then this is amazing because you have a lot of flexibility. We provide the code and you just can place it in your website or landing page or wherever and, modify it as needed. The iframe, going to be the easiest embed tool or option you have. For those that are not familiar with an iframe, essentially you just grab this code and you place it on your page wherever you want it to be. And wherever you paste that code, this form will pop up. So it's just a nice, easy way to place the form on a site that's already created. And then the floating iframe and pop-up, these are just kind of extensions of the iframe. If you want an iframe that has a bit more, I guess not a bit more, but just a bit different functionality, that's where you can go. So just so everyone is aware, within an email, you cannot add a form. You can link to a form. So you can very easily add some text that goes to the form like so, but you can't, paste the form or paste an iframe in an email itself. These options would be for websites and landing pages. So just be aware of that. Oh, all right. So some key takeaways, sign-up forms are great for collecting many different types of data. They have so many different uses, really flexible, and it's really dependent on, how complex you want to get with it. There's also a lot of different layers of automation and functionality that you can use. So if you wanted to, utilize different parts of this system within a sign-up form, I didn't really talk too much about it, but you can connect events to sign-up forms. I briefly touched on this, but you can connect payment to sign-up forms. There's the different types of sign-up forms, such as using custom objects to collect repetitive information or just, generic user field information. And the next one is setup is very easy and intuitive. Again, different levels for different experience types. So really, there's something for everyone there. All right. So I have talked a lot. I don't see any questions yet, but I guess feel free to shoot over any questions that you have. And I will do what I can to answer if there are any. And just a reminder to ask a question. I'll go back to that page. You'll just want to click on the activities button here, and then there should be a little button to ask a question. And I will see if anyone has anything. So far, it seems like everyone's got a good grasp on it, which is great. Okay, well, I don't see any questions coming in yet. Okay, so I will, let's see. I guess here is some resources, a lot of different ones. These will go ahead and be sent to you as directly via the marketing email. But yeah, I think that is it. I don't see any questions coming in, and I think, I'm said what I needed to say. So I will go ahead and oh, thank you, everyone. Thank you. Yes, I like the claps. All right, I will go ahead and end the call in the webinar. Thank you guys so much for showing up, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your day.